continue waging what he described as a boundless global war on terror. Obama's comments came one day after Attorney General Eric Holder confirmed U.S. drone strikes had killed 4 U.S. citizens in Yemen and Pakistan.
Simply put, these strikes have saved lives. Moreover, America's actions are legal. We were attacked on 9/11. Within a week, Congress overwhelmingly authorized the use of force.
The people who defend drones and defend the way that they're used, they always say, you know, they protect American lives by not putting them in harm's way. But what they really do is they just embolden commanders. They embolden decision makers because there is no threat. There is no immediate consequence. They can do this strike and they can potentially kill this person that they're so desperate to get and to eliminate because of how dangerous, potentially dangerous they could be to the U.S. But if it just so happens that they don't kill that person or that some other people are involved in the strike and get killed as well, you know, there's no consequence for it. When it comes to high-value targeting, every mission is to go after one person at a time. But anybody else that's killed in that strike is just blanketly assumed to be an associate of the targeted individual. So as long as they can reasonably identify that all of the people in the field of view of the camera are military-aged males, meaning anybody who's believed to be of age 16 or older, they are a legitimate target under the rules of engagement. If the strike occurs and kills all of them, they just say that they got them all.
For John McCain. You go! Doesn't McCain have a daughter that's of military age?
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. How about sending your daughter, John? What about that?
People oftentimes get mixed up in the anti-drone movement, trying to say that we should just ground drones and we just eliminate drones from our lexicon and never allow them to exist in this world. It's just too dangerous. And I don't necessarily agree with them because drones are going to be a part of our life here pretty soon. They're going to be, most likely, they're going to be doing things that we were only able to do with people in a plane before. It would be like dusting crops or planting seeds or doing humanitarian surveillance during floods and disasters to try and locate victims. You know, they're going to be there. But there's also that other dangerous side to them that makes war so easy and so convenient and so simple that the people who have access to this technology and access to this capability just say, well, why wouldn't I use this? It's too easy. The most disturbing thing about my involvement in drones is the uncertainty. If anybody that I was involved in kill or capture was a civilian or not. There's no way of knowing.
There's a bomb, they drop it. It explodes. Then what? Does somebody go down there and ask for somebody's driver's license? Excuse me, sir, can I have your driver's license, see who you are? I mean, does that happen? How do we know? How is it possible to know who ends up living or dying?
So folks, welcome to the Commonwealth Club. We have the great privilege tonight to have the chance to talk with General Stanley McChrystal, who had a very distinguished 34-year career in the American military. His last assignment was as the commander of the International Security Assistance Force in Afghanistan. Won't you, Commonwealth Club members, join me in welcoming Stan McChrystal.
Think about today's world. You can get information from everywhere in real time. You can talk to anyone in your organization. In my situational awareness room, we called it, we had about 12 screens on the wall, and they were all showing operations in real time, full motion video, we called it, like live TV, from predator unmanned aerial vehicles above them. So we could watch every one of our operators land in a helicopter, get out of a vehicle, move on the target. And because of a system we set up that went through our secure internet, we could hear every radio transmission. And if I was sitting in Baghdad, I could hear radio transmissions from a raid in Afghanistan. And if I wanted to, I could reach down and talk to Sergeant X on the ground on an objective in Afghanistan. Now, I never did that, but the technology now allows you to do that. So the first thing to understand is that's deceptive. It's seductive and deceptive, because if you see things in 2 dimensions, you get the opinion that you're at 10,000 feet, you see this photograph, you know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You know what you see in 2 dimensions. Lisa, L-I-S-A?
Yep. And I'm...
Go on with the question, please.
Okay, so I'm very curious. I understand that you're a little wary about the drone program, and I'm wondering what your views of the program are.
Yeah, I think drones are here to stay, and they're necessary. But you have to understand how people pursue things. So it's one thing to do things, but it's another to anger a population in the process. So I think you've got to make the value decision. You've got to say, in each case, you've got to make the decision, is it worth it? Because you are going to create, some ill will in the process. I also think we need to explain it to the world better. But again, I'm not one of those people who thinks it's not going to be around. I mean, technology doesn't go back.
It doesn't, once it's out of the bag, it's out of the bag.
And it's not immoral or moral, but it has to be understood and it has to be described to people. It has to be very carefully used. I just think it's that important.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I read your book and I so appreciate
Your kindness.
your
Thank you so
understanding
much.
of the Afghan culture and all of that. Just touched my heart. One of my neighbors, her name's Asma, and she was born in Afghanistan. And she goes there every year distributing seeds and doing humanitarian work. And Asma's willing to take me this year, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm aware that Afghanistan is a dangerous place. I'm aware that there's still war going on there, but I believe that doing this is the right thing to do. I lost part of my humanity working in the drone program, and humanity was what was missing there, and seeing these people as human beings. It'll be nice to just see it up close. When I meet these people, part of it is making reparations for my participation in a program that's a huge, huge weapons system that kills more innocent people than actual targets. There's no way that I can make amends or change anything that I've participated in, but there's any way that I can somehow give back to that country. That's what I want to do.
اینی رو گفتی که سرخ میکنی اینی سرخ میشه کدو درایی میشه he was زنارم بته I said give the ladies too okay so anyhow
I want to be able to be helpful, even just a little bit, by talking to somebody who's been directly impacted by the drone program and asking, what do you need? What do you want people to hear? Basically, how can I be helpful? Because being a part of a weapon system can't be helpful. It can only be hurtful.
My feeling of her moving to California is mixed emotions. I feel it's an opportunity for her, but I'm concerned about a young lady being that far from home without family support that can't be nearby, and if she needs help, it would take some time for us to get help to her. It's not just my granddaughter that has had trouble getting the treatment she needed. I know she attempted to get help, and she had trouble finding therapists to talk to because they didn't have the right security clearance, and she was in violation of the law and could go to prison for even talking to the wrong therapist about what was really bothering her. And that made me a little angry at our own government for putting these kids through hell. If we put our young people in this kind of an environment, we have an obligation to look after them, to help them make the adjustment back to normal life. And we're not doing that. And that's shame on us.
The government recently contacted 2 of the drone whistleblowers whom I represent. The government meaning the Air Force Office of Special Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation contacted them, told them that they were on some sort of terrorist kill list. In Heather's case, my understanding was that the Air Force Office of Special Investigations contacted her stepfather to relay the message that a known terrorist organization had been searching her name. And on the one hand, they said there was not a specific or imminent threat. On the other hand, they had very tailored solutions for Heather, which was that she needed to tone down her social profile in general, and that would include writing op-eds, that would include the use of Twitter and Facebook. It's not like Heather's been out screaming from the rooftop about drones, but clearly the government is very aware of the fact that she had written about drones before. To me, that's a blatant attempt to silence whistleblowers, and it doesn't surprise me that that happens to the very few people who have been brave enough to be speaking out against the drone program.
It was actually just hours after I had turned in my badge and was finishing my last day. Had gotten home, was relaxing, had poured myself a drink, and somebody downstairs was knocking at the door, and immediately both people at the door, a man and a woman, shoved FBI badges in my face.